Recently, I played Sonic Superstars, and it's kind of a LEGO game. Between the LEGO minifigure skins for the characters, including Dr. Eggman, the LEGO-themed battle mode stages ripping off the sets, and even an ad that comes with the physical copy of the game, this is probably the closest we're gonna get to another LEGO Sonic game since LEGO Dimensions. In celebration of LEGO and Sonic Superstars, I thought it would be fun to build 2 zones from the game in a similar style to the LEGO Ideas Green Hill Zone, and attach them all together to create one giant Sonic build. So gather up your Superstar crew and select your favorite character, cause it's time to get building. The first zone we'll be tackling is the Bridge Island zone, appropriately the first zone in the game. It has a similar vibe to Green Hill Zone since they both have lots of loops and green grass. The plan for our Bridge Island build is to be about 44 studs long, which we'll break into 2 even sections. The first section will be a loop, similar to the one in the LEGO Ideas set. To start the build, we'll lay the groundwork with these black 1x6 and 1x10 tiles, the sum being about 22 studs long. Next, since Bridge Island Zone has a light and dark gray checkerboard-like color scheme, we'll build that to match on both sides. I also put some Technic bricks and connectors, with the left ready to attach to another Sonic zone, and the right for our second half of Bridge Island. To fill in the space underneath, we'll add some medium azure plates and blue tiles to convey water, with the centerpiece being these large arch pieces. Since most of Bridge Island primarily floats in the air, these arch pieces will, hopefully, sell that illusion while providing a solid foundation. With the foundation well found, I'll add a ground level of gray plates, only to cover them up with a blend of green plates and an up and downhill motion, followed by a light green bracket. On those brackets, we'll use these teeth looking pieces to convey the sort of jagged look that the border of the zone has. After staring at digital triangles for a hot minute, I think it works. So we put in that groundwork, but now I'm going to throw y'all for a loop by building one. To be consistent with LEGO's previous work, I based the general structure of the loop on that design, but with some added quirks. For example, in Bridge Island, the loops have a more pointy end to them compared to the ones in Green Hill, which I convey with these slopes and inverted slopes. Following that, I put some plates and brackets to set it up for more green details since the loop looks pretty overgrown in game. A wedge plate, more green teeth, a green heart, and some tiles will represent the side detailing, while tiles, brackets, and slopes rest on top. I'm not sure what I was cooking here with the heart and the slopes, but I still like the look of it. Backing up from that, the zone looks a little barren, so let's add some vegetation. If we look in the background of the level, we'll see there's this pineapple looking plant and some multicolored leaves. We'll use modified bricks with these little pyramids and a stem to place a plant at the front, then clip a vine under the loop, and add some green and magenta leaves at the end. Lastly, to set the scene, Bridge Island has a lot of palm trees, so using some Technic pieces, rods, domes, and slopes for leaves at the top, we'll connect one to the back via this Technic pin, which I don't think I showed you that earlier. Yeah, that's been back there. This gives the tree a good range of motion, whether you want to have it chill in the back or lean more into the main build. With that, part 1 of Bridge Island Zone is complete. After placing all those plants, I finally know what it's like to touch grass. Part 2 of our Bridge Island Zone build, also at 22 studs long, is much more straightforward with similar arch and water details as a base, and the same green plates, brackets, and teeth. These clips are the only new addition, which to bridge the center gap, we'll be building a bridge. Since the zone is called Bridge Island and there's bridge on bridges here, I figured it would make sense. I know, hard-hitting analysis here. For that bridge build, we'll be using a similar technique to the LEGO Ideas set, but I flipped the front of that design around to add these detailed wood pieces instead of the back side of some studs. That little bridge will go in the center for our superstars to cross, but since there are so many bridges, I built a second one just slightly larger. To elevate our second bridge, I put stacks of light and dark gray bricks on both sides with an inverted slope and leaves for extra detail. On top of that, I'll add some clips to connect the bridge to, and cover that with more green to mirror the ground level. Now we can connect our bridge, and yes, minifigures can run underneath. This section definitely puts the bridge in Bridge Island Zone. I don't want to know how many times I've said bridge in this video. But to finish this build off, we'll connect the 2 builds via Technic pins from earlier, and to solidify the connection, we'll add a black border to convey that diorama look. So this is the finished Bridge Island Zone. I know I reused a lot of techniques like the loop and bridge from the LEGO Ideas set with this one, but I'm happy with some of the extra details like the plants and elevated bridge. There's also plenty of display options, whether the characters want to run the loop or hang out near the bridges. With all our bridges crossed, let's speed over to our second and final zone for today's video. The second zone we'll build is the Golden Capital, the 8th zone in Sonic Superstars. This zone takes place in a temple in between all the gold, porcelain, and checkered floors. It's going for a very high-end, classy vibe. Not that any of these enemies scream prim and proper to me, but look, shiny things. For the actual design of the build, I plan to replicate the start of the level with this giant arch on the left, and Amy running down this giant ramp on the right. In total, it'll come out to 30 studs, and I'll split it in two again like we did with Bridge Island. The first section will focus on the golden arch, with the base coming out to 12 studs long with two 1x6 modified plates. For the foundation, we'll add some Technic bricks on both sides, some inverted slopes in the back we'll return to shortly, and my favorite piece, the masonry bricks in the front. Some plates on top will start the running path, with some black and white tiles for that checkerboard look in the center, but the sides are where I ran into a problem. The Golden Capital is obviously, well, gold, but the brackets and teeth pieces I wanted to use for the trim of the zone only appear in bright light orange. The colors kinda look alike in game, so all that glitters isn't just gold, but also bright light orange. As for the arch, I ran into a similar color problem because the pieces I wanted to use didn't come in the same gold color. The colors in question were pearl gold and metallic gold, which look slightly different from one another, so I kinda just hoped for the best that it wouldn't clash too much in person compared to designing it online. So ultimately, using a variety of colors, not Sonic colors mind you, we'll build the arch with some modified bricks and plates as the skeleton, which I'll cover up with these metallic gold tiles. For some extra detail, we'll add these fancy pearl gold looking pieces. Since the top of the arch has this golden ornament, I thought the snowflake piece in orange would fit perfectly. With an extra tile on top of that and a small statue build at the beginning of the running path, the first section is done. For the second section, we'll focus on this giant ramp. The base is 18 studs long, but I want to do something extra with this foundation. Because the level has these cutouts with these torches underneath, we'll put some arches with torch builds in the center, and then plates on top to connect it all. While we're here, I also filled the section next to these cutouts. Next, we'll focus on the rise of the ramp. Continuing the checkered pattern from section 1, I'll place these slope pieces to start the curve that Amy runs up. I want all the pieces to align seamlessly with these slopes, which we'll accomplish with a bracket piece, one 2x2 plate, and some 1x1 tiles and plates. The reason for plates here is so we could attach a figure as if they're running upward. We'll then encase the rise and add some tiles and plates to tidy it up, and with these white and bright light orange brackets, we'll put these tiles to sell the illusion of a curve when looking at it from the front. Since it's all downhill from here, we'll place a bunch of bricks and plates on a downward slope with bright light orange tiles on top. To cover that all up, I built a similar design on the front, just with some bricks, brackets, and teeth. We'll plant a leaf on this empty bracket, which works very well for what we see in the game. To give our superstars a running path, we'll pave the way with a hinge piece and a 2x10 plate covered in tiles, which right into place. That checkered pattern continues through to the end of the zone, bringing us back to base level. Lastly, we'll connect both halves to form the Golden Capital zone. To weld this zone's connection, I'll put this bright light orange tile in the back and black plates and tiles in the front for that sweet diorama look. So this is the finished Golden Capital zone, mainly because we were running out of capital in the budget, if you know what I mean. In person, I think the gold and bright light orange pieces blend better than I thought they would and help break up the color palette. Finally, with both zones finished, let's bridge them together for our finished Sonic Superstars tribute. Coming out to a whopping 74 studs long, this gives our superstars plenty of space to move, and I think these will make great display pieces. From my design point of view, these are interesting to me because while Bridge Island was more of a freestyle with certain things cherry picked from the zone, Golden Capital was ripped as much as possible from the game. Now for fun, let's end it by attaching two more LEGO Sonic zones. Here we have the LEGO Ideas Green Hill zone, which is the blueprint for all this, and my custom marble zone, which you could see in one of the other videos. Attaching all four, this thing, while cool to look at does not fit on the table at all, so cinematography's going out the window for this one. For further context, this behemoth does not fit on an IKEA Billy bookcase shelf. So that was LEGO Sonic Superstars. I had a great time with the game and making these custom zones, so let me know in the comments what you think of the builds. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to spin dash that like button, and until next time, happy building.